Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Not Just Magic. I am joined today by Bridget Sicsko. Bridget, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. I'm so glad that we're finally doing this.
I know, we booked this forever ago.
Yeah, it was months and months ago.
Guys, I have a popular podcast.
It was great.
So, yeah, I'm glad we're at long last able to go ahead and get this done, and yeah, just looking for a really great conversation today. So, Bridget, tell us about you. Tell us about what you do, and how you help people.
Yeah, thank you. I live in New Jersey now with my husband and my dog. We're hoping that he's not gonna, pop in here today. I'm the founder of Exalted Publishing House, where we support mostly women entrepreneurs and business owners to help them produce books that move hearts and minds, as I like to say. I also have a podcast called She Builds Empires. So everything I do relates to storytelling and helping people pull out those stories and share them with their communities, with the world at large. And I also work as a visibility strategist. So again, helping people get that story out of them and helping them feel more comfortable to be able to say these things, because being able to speak and share takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, and it's vulnerable. So I want to be there for the strategic part, but also just the heart-centered part of, oh shit, I'm going to share something and it's scary.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I don't, you see a lot of people who come out with books and you see them, but I don't know that we always take a minute to really step back and observe just how much effort or just how much courage that took to put that out there. I know that I just was helping one of my clients through a book launch, and I just see all the posts where she's like, "Hey, the book came and my boyfriend got it before I did, and now I'm all the things."
Yeah, and it's like,
it is your story. It's your story that you're putting out there, and we don't think about how vulnerable that is.
no, it's one thing to have like the idea of it and be like, hey, this would be a great idea. It's another thing to go through the process of it. And then it's a whole different thing to actually let it be out there into the world. And I know, just in my experience, we have a lot of tendencies that tend to come up around like a book launch of being seen. It also could be whether you're about to speak at your first event or be on your first podcast or anything where you are, you have eyes on you and your business. And we tend to want to like run away, hide, and pretend that we didn't do this. We're like, why would I get myself into this? Like, what was I thinking? And I feel like in those moments, it's really important to acknowledge our humanity and like being gentle with ourselves of like, of course we're feeling this way. We've never done this before. And then I also like to come back to like, why did I have this idea in the first place? Or why did this idea come through me? And why was I the one who was like chosen to disseminate the message? Because I think it's for a greater reason that we're called to do this work where we're sharing powerful stories.
Yes. What's your favorite story that has ever been that you've ever helped somebody get out there?
That's very hard. We've done a lot of multi-author books. So we're on our 7th multi-author book, which means like over 150 stories within those books. I'll give a theme instead. One of our books was called Lineage Speaks, and it was all about how, we tend to take on the beliefs, the trauma, the cycles from generations above us. And this was really a book about bringing awareness to those cycles and choosing to redirect, choosing to pivot for not only ourselves, but for future generations as well. And for me, that was just it was really beautiful to witness and take a look at my own life and my own journey in ways that I hadn't before, and to also see this generation of strong women who were like, yeah, I'm not doing what has been there in my family line. Like, we are ending that here and we are going in a different direction, which is just epic and cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool. Especially focusing on lineage, it's because that just brings in a whole new aspect to somebody's life. It's one thing to tell their life story, but it's another thing when you start looking at everything.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of courage to do that too, to be like, oh shit, is this not totally just mine? Like, could this belief or this fear not have come from just me and me alone? Could this have been something that happened in my family line and I had no idea that this was there?
Exactly. Well, and I love that you bring that up, because it's, you know, I know that when I talk to a lot of people, especially in the energy space, it's, you know, a lot of the times we do kind of have to sit with ourselves and say, okay, is this mine, or did I inherit this somewhere? Did I inherit this belief? Is this, and then I got so used to that belief that now I believe that it's my truth. But then when you really kind of get down to it, you're kind of like, oh, well, maybe that's not. Maybe that's not a belief I need to continue to carry with me. Maybe it's a belief that I can leave. And what does it look like when I take that belief and set it aside and no longer apply it to myself? Because sometimes that's even a bigger step.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's been interesting. Before I was in the publishing space, I was still in like the visibility speaking space. And I was helping women business owners again who were had this, I say, spiritual backbone, because like I can't work with people who, you know, don't have a meditation practice or don't have a spiritual devotional practice. We won't speak the same language. And I was teaching them how to use live video to sell their programs, to be able to share a message. And some of those same things came up. And what I really was thinking about is how we as women for generations and centuries have not been able to use our voices in these ways, especially to talk about more of like the witchy things that many of the women that I work with are doing, right? So many of them are healers, many of them are proponents of alternative modalities and alternative healing systems and EFT and Reiki and meditation and psychedelics and things that are not mainstream. So again, those same like generational, even societal challenges that we've had for the last centuries to be able to share, I noticed that they come up again when we're using our voice in that way as well.
Yeah. And I do love the fact that you brought up that you tend to work with a lot of those people in that kind of witchy and energetic arena. And I, you know, that's an area you and I both work in. And so, yeah, as I feel like even just as healers, as whether it's being a psychic, whether it's being a medium, whether it's being an energy worker of some kind, or maybe it's just something that they practice, but then they breathe an aspect of that to their business. It's you know, really just it creates a different type of person that you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely. I would really struggle to work with someone at this point who doesn't have heart and purpose within what they do. I think we'd be operating on different wavelengths. I don't think it would be fun for either one of us. I don't think I would be the right people for them. And I think it's pretty cool that we have this opportunity at this time in history to be talking about some of these things and to be bringing them mainstream and to be having conversations like this using a social media channel where we can, you know, talk a little bit strategic and practical, but we can also absolutely speak a completely different language.
Yes. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
What is one, so I know we talked about the theme of the book that was your favorite to work with? What has been the most impactful story that you have that you can share with the group?
Personal story of mine?
Yes.
I think it's really how I entered this work, through a meandering path that I'm here now doing this. But my path was through illness and Lyme disease and having a lot of health challenges. And those health challenges were the greatest blessing that I could have ever been given, because if I wasn't in that space of being frustrated and not feeling like I was seen or heard by the doctors when I was in my early teens, I would never have thought to even go on this more alternative path. I would have never sought out acupuncture, Ayurveda, or yoga, or meditation, or just holistic healing in general. And I'm so grateful for that, because it really set the entire trajectory of my life, that I wasn't going to just do things the way that everyone else was doing. There was always going to be a little bit of a different path and a different way. And I'm so grateful for that moment, because although I don't work as a holistic health coach anymore, that still bleeds into everything I do. I don't want to just work with people who want to make money. I want to work with people who see things in a different way and want to make impact, and have had stories and events and situations in their life where they haven't felt heard. And like, it's time for them to share that big time.
Absolutely. Yes. So just to touch on that, it is important with our businesses that they do generate a income.
Absolutely.
It's important. But and that's something that I feel should always, like, when you invest time, energy, effort into something, there should be a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do agree that when you are working from a heart-centered place, that when you're really operating in that from that higher space, it's like, just follow the dream, and then follow the dream, follow the vision, follow your heart, and then the money will follow.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And the reason I wanted to bring that side of it up is that I do feel like we get a lot of healers, psychics, mediums who, when they step into this world, they're afraid to charge for their services. They're afraid to allow themselves to be successful in that space. And every profession is a marketable and totally, like, it's completely reasonable, I think, for people who are in this space of energy workers and psychics and mediums to be able to do what they love and create a living for themselves. So I guess kind of give me your thoughts around that.
Oh, I have a lot. I love money. I'm not shy of desiring money, making money, having money. I think this is about a revolution of our money system. And this is about a change of wealth in the economy to have money in the hands of people who are more in alignment with, I think, the highest, right? Which is doing good on this planet, taking care of our bodies, right? So purchasing organic produce, maybe learning how to grow our own food. And it's all about, what can we do with the money? I want to be the one who's investing in businesses that are doing and living and breathing that which they sell, right? Because we can discern these days with businesses, right? So if a business says that they are fully organic, but they have stock in McDonald's, that doesn't make sense. And we can feel that. So when we, as business owners who have the spiritual backbone, can make more money, we can reset this wealth trajectory. And what a blessing. And this is where I'm so grateful I've had a background in sales and marketing, so I can bring some of the practical 3D business things and two parents who are entrepreneurs to the spiritual community of like, let's make some money, friends. Let's do some good with the money we can make and the gifts that we have and the impact we can make. Like, this gets me fired up, Cassie.
Yes. Love it.
Woo. Getting heated.
I love that. I love that because it's, you know, like I said, I feel like there are so many people, especially when we are, when we're working, you know, there's so many people that enter, you know, that do the yoga, do the meditation, and that is their modality. That is what they do. And do you find that it's sometimes a struggle to kind of pull that? It's like, we don't want to go out there and be super salesy.
No.
And you don't have to be.
No.
But at the same time, you deserve to honor yourself in that space. And so do you find that sometimes that's a bit of a struggling conversation?
Yeah, because when you think about the work of healing yoga, that's the space of transformation. And we are transforming into a feeling state. So it's very ethereal, right? Where a traditional business is like solving a problem or has a product where it's very tangible. It's very easy for someone to understand why they'd want to purchase or invest in that thing. So when you're in the space of healing, you have to really be thinking about, okay, I'm saying I want to help people with confidence, but then we have to give very tangible examples of what confidence actually looks like in someone's life. Because to one person, confidence could be being able to feel confident enough to speak about their job and leave. Confidence to another person could be, okay, I want to speak at my first event and need help with that. So I think it goes down to some of the messaging that we use when we are more of a spiritual business owner and selling something that's like intangible. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's an important conversation to be had because we do need to know some of the basics of sales and marketing and make it our own, because we're not trying to cold DM people. We're not trying to be salesy. That doesn't feel good for us. We want to build relationships. And that's a whole other part to marketing that is sometimes left out. Building relationships and networking is one of the best things that you can do as a business owner who's in the more spiritual space.
Absolutely. Share a success story.
Share a success story. Okay, this is a personal one of my own. I spoke at an in-person event? Forgetting which store it was. Okay, I spoke at an in-person event in New Jersey a couple months back, and I was super excited because I know I'm meant to be a speaker. But I always like to say we should dream big and start small. So my small steps have been using live video for the last 4 years, speaking on a number of podcasts, interviewing so many people, and holding that vision. Like, just as you said, we have to hold that vision. And I would hold this vision. There would be a specific mantra that would play as I'm in meditation, seeing myself walk onto the stage, hearing myself do this. And right before the in-person event started, the guy who was running it goes, "Okay, Bridget, what song do you want to walk out to?" And I was like, holy shit, this is the moment. This is the moment where I get to play the mantra, where the dream comes to fruition, where it comes to reality. And I feel like it's just such a simple thing, right? To dream big and start small, but you have to stay consistent. And there are moments where you don't feel like that success is close. Right. And you just have to keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's not sexy, but you just keep going, keep going, keep going. And then it will come.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yes, there are times where being an entrepreneur is hard. Mm-hmm. It is not all success. Typically when you're seeing somebody who's really having that level, where they're really taking off in their business, I feel like there are a lot of people who just kind of feel like, oh, that just happened for them overnight. And you're like, are you joking?
No. And this is the problem with social media. People think that when someone takes a picture on the beach holding their laptop, that's what it looks like, but you don't know what it looked like before they were on that beach holding their laptop.
Right. Or, I know I was just taking a video yesterday where I was like, okay, I'm going to take a, short video for social media and it's going to be right around my space. How long did it take me to set that up so that all this stuff was clear? Because my desk is not always the most organized thing ever, so social media, you just see the snapshots that people want you to see. And a lot of the times you're not going to find people who are going to sit there and post, this moment sucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are some people who will do that, but at the same time, when you see posts like that, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah, it's awesome. The awesome part about being an entrepreneur, you get to follow your passion. You get to do what you absolutely love. And, let's also go into a little bit, because right before the show, we were talking about kind of the different pieces that we kind of handle for people, because a lot of the times I know I've dealt with where someone will come to me and be like, hey, I need a website, or I need a logo, or I need a graphic or something like that. And then, so there's a piece of that puzzle that I handle for people, but then there's a whole other ball game that you handle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about that, just because I feel like a lot of the times, just like people see the success and won't, they don't always see all the work that went into that. I think some people have some ideas of what the process looks like to do a book, and then what it actually looks like to do a book.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that a little bit.
I also think I like to be very transparent. So there's definitely posts I've made where this fucking sucks right now, and I'm going to be so real about it. I think it's important. And my entire business journey has now been 5 or 6 years in the making, starting off as a yoga teacher, then holistic health coach, then hosting women's circles and workshops, and making not a lot of money, and then helping other people in their businesses. And again, my motto is not sexy to growing a business. It goes, dream big, start small, keep up, keep going. And you just keep up, you keep going, you network, you know what you do, you get clear on it, you make sure people know what it is that you do. And now the last 2.5 years have been supporting entrepreneurs with live video, with messaging, with speaking, with books, with podcasts, and publishing. And that has also been a whole different journey, right? To have a team of people supporting this business. So there's a lot of growth that goes on behind the scenes. And I do a monthly newsletter called What's the Scoop, so everyone can know what's actually going on back here, because I have nothing to hide. I want people to see the interworkings of the business, to know that this takes a lot of time. It's challenging, and it's so freaking beautiful at the same time. And, the same thing with a book. You have to write an entire book if it's your own, and a lot goes into that. Are you going to have an editor? Are you going to have a developmental editor, someone who's going to actually help you with the storyline and making sure it makes sense? And that's a lot of time that goes into actually writing the book. Then there's multiple other components of a book, like what's the cover going to look like? What is the formatting of the book going to look like? How are you going to launch this, right? What is your marketing strategy to launch a book? It's so many different components all together in one, where again, it's dream big and start small. Just what do you need to do today to put one foot in front of the other, and you just keep going. And this is where my athlete mentality of someone who, we're doing a 15-mile race this weekend, my husband and I, really comes in, because it is not always sexy when you're at mile 13 being like, oh, this was a bad idea. Why did I sign up for this? And why did I pay for this? But you just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important part. Just keep going. Don't give up. There are times where I know I have definitely wanted just be like, yeah, no, we're done. And
Absolutely.
it's in those moments that I always like to say, like, one of my coaches will be like, yeah, you have this much time. Because I'll call her up and be like, oh my God, the world just fell apart and I suck and I'm going down this rabbit hole of, and she's like, okay, she's off and running into the rabbit hole. Okay, you've got 2 hours to feel this way and do process it, go take a shower, take a walk, whatever it is, cry.
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to do and feel whatever you need to for the next 2 hours. And in 2 hours, I'm going to give you a call back and we're going to discuss game plan.
Yeah.
And because she's like, right now, I can't deal with you. I have really straightforward coaches who just say it as it is. And if you are too much in your own head, they call you out on it, which is fabulous because it keeps me out of the headspace and some, so, but yeah, it's in those moments, it's give yourself a chance to feel what you're feeling, give yourself the chance to process what you're processing, but don't stay there. Find a way to work through it, breathe through it, do what you need to do, and then get right back up and just keep going, because you don't know what's going to be on the other side. And you don't know what's going to be right around the corner. There are times, where you may be sitting there looking at your bank account, because that's a real thing when you're an entrepreneur. And you may be stressing or freaking out about the fact that there might not be a whole lot in there. But then the next day, a client signs on board with you and you're off and running again. So you just don't know what is going to help bring those things in for you.
It's a roller coaster ride. And this is where the spiritual practice comes in, because we need things outside of, whether clients are coming in or not, that sustains us. We need something that is so deep that hooks us into truth so that we can navigate those moments. And of course, be human and like cry a little bit and be like, WTF is going on? Like, this is not ideal, but like go through it, move through it.
Yes. Move through it. Don't stop.
Yeah. Don't stop.
Because when you stop and you give up, then nothing else can happen at that point until you recenter, realign, put yourself back on track. And I actually, and if you need help with that, find the people who will help you do that. I know for myself, I've got 2 main coaches that I work with, and then there's a third person in my life that is also just like, I call them my anchors and my touch points, because those are the people who keep me centered, aligned, grounded, and on track.
We're not meant to do these business journeys alone. Like, the network I have, I'm so grateful for, because those moments where I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, was this a bad idea? Like, why did I start this? They're like, Bridget, shut up. Like, you're doing a great job.
Right? And it's easy to forget that we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Because we are our worst critic.
Of course.
So kind of harnessing those brains, and and I was actually having a conversation with one of my classmates last night, and it was basically, as you go through this process of building your business, you're going to change, you're going to evolve, you're going to be constantly kind of in this state of flux of and moving forward and all, moving forward with everything that you're doing. And so every time you level yourself, every time you level up, it's just to be mindful of not reverting back.
Yeah.
Because if you want something new and you want something different, you kind of have to do the new and different and show up with new and with that energy, and not revert back to those things, revert back to that same way of thinking. So it's being very mindful of your thoughts
Mhm.
and making sure that you're in the forward motion
Mhm.
of your thinking versus allowing yourself to, because I know myself, I used to all the time end up in all these, it would be so easy for something to happen and just completely knock me down.
Yep.
And now, after years and years of working on myself, and showing up for classes and courses and trainings and all of that, it's like, okay, there are moments,
Mhm.
but I don't get stuck there.
Yeah. I like to say, ride the wave, don't let the wave ride you.
Yes. Yeah. So we are right around that time to close. So Bridget, do you have any last words to our viewers?
Sure. If you're listening to this and you're a business owner, maybe you've liked what we've talked about today of, I want to do this thing, but it's scary and hard all at the same time. And maybe you've thought about giving up and all of that. Allow this to just be that reminder. You just have to keep going, and you are so supported, and find those people who support you, find the mentors, find the community groups, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other and staying true to that which you desire and your vision and purpose and the why on this planet, and magic will follow you and carry you.
I love that saying. Magic will follow you.
Is it a saying? I have no idea.
Well, it's a saying now. I'm making it one. It's a thing. We're making it happen. Okay, so Bridget, tell everybody how they can find you.
Sure. So on the screen, you'll see Exalted Publishing House. You can go to my website, bridgetaileen.com. You can find out more information there. So if you want to write your own book, if you have questions, if you want to join a co-authored book, you can find out everything there. And if you ever want to learn how to pitch yourself to media without hiring a publicist, that is my program, Visibility on Purpose. We'll be re-enrolling in January.
Fantastic. And as always, I am Cassie Clayton with Stargazers Unite, stargazersunite.com, or Stargazers Unite across all social media platforms. I help create websites, logos, and brand materials for spiritual business owners. So absolutely. So thank you everybody who's tuned in to watch, whether you're watching us here on the replay or through any of the other platforms. Do the like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future episodes. And Bridget, thank you so much for joining, and everybody have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.